So today we're going to talk about recovering from a wrist injury. So first thing that we want to do is, if we're dealing with injured tissue in the wrist, is we want to be able to develop stability back in the wrist. So that means putting your wrist in what's called a neutral position. A lot of times the wrist gets hurt under load because we move from a more neutral position, which would be like this, to possibly like an unsafe position, which is like this, under heavy load. So the first exercise that we talked about earlier, or that we demoed, is going to be using a object that has a different weight variability, such as a kettlebell, right? So it's heavy at the top, and then it's less heavy on the handle part. So just holding this right here, you could do reps, you could do sets. You could start off with 10 seconds at a time, 5 seconds at a time, bringing it down, coming back up. Next thing that you could do is you could walk. So you could hold the kettlebell, you could walk in that position, and then you can start challenging it by getting a little bit more dynamic with the arm. And you could start doing things like presses, pressing in different planes, even just coming back and forth right here. There's a lot of different stuff you can do while maintaining that neutral wrist posture. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is bring stability back to the joint. All right, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about with the wrist pain is one thing that usually feels really, really good for wrists. A lot of times there's pain when you're coming this way or coming in this way. It's when your stuff in this area starts bumping together. So what we want to do is kind of free up those carpals, which is basically the stuff in this area, besides nerves, tendons, and
all good stuff.
All good stuff. So
medical term, stuff.
So what we're going to do here, and this is something that's really good. Sometimes you just get like that quick little bite in your wrist while you're working out. So this is a good alternative to do like in between sets sometimes if you're feeling that little bite, or if you're at work and you're feeling it and you're looking for something super easy that doesn't take a lot of time or energy. And I'm going to teach you how to distract your own wrist. When I mean distract, I basically mean by pulling some structures apart from each other. So Dr. Donald, show them how you would distract your wrist.
Perfect. So I'm going to face you guys. So we're going to come here, and we're going to use our offhand to grip right around the wrist. Okay, and then when we come forward, I want you to squeeze with your hand, and almost like you're screwing on a lid, I want you to turn your hand just ever so slightly. Okay, so every time I rock forward, I'm closing that jar. Okay, well, opening it if it's your left hand. So here, slight turn, squeeze. Just every rep.
Easy way to remember this is you're always turning in the direction, for this purpose, towards your body. And he's pulling up and turning. So the motion would be up here and then rotating as you're going through it. So
and this just gives all that stuff some space in there every time you lean forward.
Yeah, and in office, anytime anyone feels that jamming sensation when their hands flex like this, as soon as we do this to them, they'll instantly have relief while we're doing that motion, as it's creating space.
This is money.
So increasing the range of motion. So now that you've developed some stability back in there, you're a little bit more comfortable with using your arm again, we're going to talk about safe ways of figuring out what your range of motion is. So there's a couple ways to do this, and I always like to start off with the simplest way. And the first thing I'm going to show you has two benefits. For one, it can help with range of motion in a very unloaded position, and also you can get a benefit from what happens to the nerves as a gliding motion through like that median nerve. So very easy exercise. You could definitely do this at the desk. This is also good potentially if you're having wrist pain from that keyboard. So you start off in the thank you position.
Height.
And begin. Coming over, coming back. And really, if you're wondering like how far you want to do this, I like to go from nipple to nipple. Depending on where your nipples are. Could be way down here. Could be way up here. But again, you're going to find that right position that feels good for you. So for me, it's about right here. Again, if you're doing this and you start to get any like numbness or tingling, I want you to back out of this movement, back out of this motion. You need to address another problem that's going on. We may be dealing with a nerve situation. So again, right here, and neutral in it out.
And it's not like you're crushing your hands together by any means. You're just pressing these together and moving them together as a unit.
Boom. Simple. So another way to do that is going to be, we'll start adding a little bit of load, and it's going to be in the quadruped position. Okay, so go ahead and rock forward. And again, you're going to brush into, so he's going to find that range of motion, what feels good and what doesn't feel good. So he's going to brush into that discomfort and back out. And that's where he's going to kind of work that range of motion. You can do this for anywhere from like 3 sets of 5 reps initially, or 5 sets of 5 reps, all the way up to doing this 15, 20, 30 times in a row. You kind of go and see how it's feeling. You'll start to feel that range of motion increase in that wrist. You'll start to go a little further where that pain threshold starts to deteriorate a little bit, and that's a good sign. Just keep working that. Again, you'll brush into that discomfort, because if you go into it too fast, too hard, you're going to irritate that tissue and you're going to have to reset. So this is reintroducing potentially what like the painful motion was. Next thing from here, you can do a little bit of what's called like a PNF, which is like a form of a stretch reflex that we're going to try to get in there to increase range of motion. So you basically start back in that neutral position, and it's going to be hard to see, but what he's doing here is he is going to be raising these fingers up. And for him, that's difficult because he has, at one point in his life, tore a giant hole in his hand and has limited range of motion. But what he'd be doing here is he essentially feels like he's pulling those fingers up, and then relax. Good. You can kind of hold that for 2 to 5 seconds. See how that feels, and then again perform that for 3 to 5 sets, 2 to 5 second holds, and then you can go back into the rocking position. Again, I'll start off in stages. See how the rocking feels. Once the rocking feels good, you can do this. If it's really painful, you can do the same concept. You just start backing out of pain. You could start right there with a little less weight, more of the weight in your feet, and do that. Boom, the same thing. You could try that PNF concept where you're pulling your fingers up, trying to raise your fingers towards the ceiling. And you can see possibly how when we take him out of that, how he's able to come up a little higher. Again, maybe your fingers won't come off. That's totally normal.
Perfect. So what we're going to show next is a way to load into that extension of the wrist and rotate around, introducing circular motions.
Yeah, I'll demo this one.
Yep.
So goal right here is just reintroducing different ranges of motion and different planes, and getting your wrist comfortable with moving around again. So again, I'm in this 4-point position. If I wanted to take pressure off my wrist, I could go from here, just simply back to here. And what we're going to do is coming up, we're rotating around.
And his hands are staying still, and his body's moving around.
Then I'll switch directions. I'm just rotating. It'll feel good. Sometimes there will be a spot I want to work through, so I'll just kind of sit through that motion or through that angle and enjoy that for a moment. Explore the motion there.
Oh,
come back around. That feels good. Perfect. Like a whole new woman.
So try that out. See how it feels. Love it.
Love it.
Live it. Learn it. All right. See you guys next time. I'll probably put it out anyways.
So here's what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about adding load. So a lot of times after a wrist injury, this is a very uncomfortable position, putting load here. Or I had a patient a while ago that was like, my whole goal is to be able to do push-ups without feeling pain in my wrist. So we had to break everything down. We started with those rocks, getting the flexibility back in there, doing a little tissue work. And once that happened, the first thing that I got her to do was simply what's called an upright plank, which is, let me demonstrate that, which is this. So that's holding this position. We've got a little bit more load. We've got the weight of the upper body carrying through that. He's holding that, rest. So at first, this may be uncomfortable to start. And again, you're going to do maybe 5 seconds at a time. These 5 seconds will eventually turn into 30 seconds. Those 30 seconds will eventually turn into range of motion. You got to be patient with the process, very patient with the process here. So you're going to find out what your tissue can tolerate and then figure out an appropriate strategy for that. Again, this is a dose response, so the more you do it throughout the day without pain, the better off it's going to be. So we start off here, loading, increasing that threshold over time, and rest. Woo. Perfect. So now we've introduced this. So we started with creating stability in a neutral wrist, And then we went into creating mobility through the wrist, and now we're creating load through here, getting your body to be able to handle that and tolerate that again. Excellent.
Perfect.
So the next phase is going to be taking that loaded position through ranges of motion, and we're going to start back with getting into a push-up. So easiest way to deload that push-up is start off on your knees. And let's go down. Boom, finding that range of motion coming up. For some of you guys, it may be go like a quarter range. You might be rocking this for a little bit. That's all right. That's getting you back into the motion. You're going to be getting there. Just be patient with it. As that gets better, you start increasing, hitting that full range of motion. Good. Coming up. If that feels good and you want to develop strength, you can go down. You can hit a pause at the bottom. Come back up. Perfect. Now we're going to take that same concept. We'll put you right on your toes. Once you're able to do, let's say, 15 of those, 10 to 15 of those, completely pain-free. Let's try loading that. And again, you'll start off with a partial range. How does that feel? Good.
Good.
And then you can go up and down. Perfect. And rest. Now, if you guys are getting back after an injury, I'm going to show you a great way to, instead of just jumping right into the push-ups, is you could do a little routine. So the routine would look like this. You're going to start off here. Boom. We're going to hit these right here. Doing 15 each side. Nipple to nipple. Perfect. Now we're going to go back down into the quadruped position. From here, we're going to rock back and forth. We'll hit about 15 of these. Feeling that out. Good. And 15. If we're counting by fives. Next thing you're going to do is PNF that hand. Boom. Pulling the screws up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. You're going to do that about 5 times. Good. Shake it out. Come back. Perfect. We're going to go right now into that upright plank. Hold this guy for 30 seconds.
30.
Perfect. And now we're going to go into the push-up. And then at this push-up, it's whatever level of push-up you're at. So it could be knees. It could be full push-ups like him. Perfect. Come on up. Woo. Perfect. There you go. So again, as you're getting back into it, you might incorporate this as a warm-up and as a process in with what you're trying to do. And then you would just, from there, manage your load, continue to progress.
Perfect. And then the last one would be single arm.
Yeah, plank tap.
Mm-hmm.
Good, so this right here, you could do this. You could also do a stability hold. So come back up and just hold one arm up. Boom, and now you're holding single arm, you're on that wrist, you got it loaded, you're able to maintain it, and you're feeling pretty good, there should be no shaking in your body, and rest.
Boom.
Perfect. Thank you guys. There's a lot of ways to skin this cat, so you can take these concepts, you can apply them all throughout. Again, he did that in the most advanced position, which is this. For those of you that are having a difficult time, you might simply be going into a bird dog position, which would be right here. And just raise one arm and the leg. Or even just raising one arm, depending on how that feels. Boom, you can start with that.
Beautiful. Do you have any more cool words?
Nope. Out of cool words.
Summarize. So we got pain-free range of motion. In this case, we're keeping it neutral. We have introduction of range of motion. And then we have loading that range of motion. And then we, finally,
Maximal effort.
Yeah, maximal effort. Cool. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.